All right, what's up, everybody? Long time no see for those of you on my YouTube channel. It's been a while. Apologize. Oh my gosh, it's okay. It's been a while, and I figured what better time to get back on than to record a year-end recap. I know I'm a little bit late on that too. The day I'm recording this is January 7th, so a full trading week into the new year of 2022. But I kind of just wanted to share, obviously what's been the craziest market I've ever seen, and how I performed, what I learned, some of my best and worst trades, and moving forward, what my plans are. And so, without further ado, let me take a sip of my coffee. You guys can't see me on this. I couldn't get my camera to work, and I figured whatever. Without further ado, though, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee and we'll begin. All right. So, to end the year, just shy of about $830,000, putting me about $950,000 in career trading profits. So obviously the vast majority of that coming from 2021. And it was obviously a year where, and especially in the beginning, everything kind of just went straight up, and we'll get into that in a minute. I won't completely go month by month necessarily per se, but kind of just again show the struggles that I had, the great trades that I had, the great months that I had, on a month-to-month basis almost. And I don't know, hopefully it can help you guys in some way or inspire you somehow. That's the goal of this. So through 2021, I averaged about $3,400 a day with a basically 50% win rate, and not much more than a 2-to-1 or a little bit under a 2-to-1 winning trade versus losing trade, and that is very much because of kind of the scalpy nature of how I trade. And let's see. So as you can see by this graph, obviously the beginning of the year was simply just parabolic for me. In December of 2020, going right into 2021, I started that curve. I think I locked in about $70,000 in the month of December of 2020. And from there, it went literally straight up. And then I had another little parabolic push into the summer, which was pretty cool, because that was definitely tougher trading, but I was just trading really well. Let's see. I guess we'll just go over some of this stuff. My best tickers. My best was HPI, which was also my biggest trade of all time. And I'll show you guys that in a little while. NEGG, I always did really well with. It offered great moves when it moved. Moxie, another really fun one that I owed. That was actually mainly just all from scalping, a few $1,000s per trade. Pretty sure I just had a high win rate on that. Biggest losing ticker was Mdgs, because I was swinging that a lot. I liked the chart a ton. And it's simply just, I couldn't get a feel for it. FAMI ended up being my biggest loss of all time. Got stuck in an overnight offering with, enough size to take a $14,000 loss. And from there, Mdgs was my biggest loss of all time before FAMI, where I was very heavily sized into Mdgs, and it didn't work, and I actually still ended this day green when I took that loss, which was crazy. I remember that day. So let's see. My best performance generally fell under the sub $2 stocks, which makes sense because in the beginning of the year, OTCs were just wildly hot. So that allowed for me to get some really great opportunity there. And then that's why after that, and after the OTC madness was over by the end of February, I really had to adjust into listed stocks, and I learned a lot about the type of range that I like. And by my in-trade price range, you'll see that most of my money was actually made on stocks that were moving over $1 a share while I was in the trade, because I've just learned how much I like range. I'm not good at, and it makes sense being a more scalpy trader that I'm going to perform better on stocks that have high ranges. I can take size with tight risk reward and get a lot of upside range if I hit the right spot. And that, ideally I probably should have focused. Well, you can't focus on. I don't know what the range is going to be when I enter a stock, obviously, but let's see. Best time, obviously, right out of the open, but that did change a lot towards the end of the year. We'll go over my red month I had here in September. Multi-day swings, overnights primarily with OTCs, and a big trade like AHPI, which makes up about a third of that, actually over a third of that entire multi-day gain. Because AHPI was technically, I had swung part of it, then added to it the day it ran. And yeah, let's see here. Let's start off, I guess we'll dig into my biggest trade. AHPI for about $34,000, which was absolutely insane. I mean, I'll always remember that trade. That was crazy. So I actually had started into this. Let's see, we'll get up like a 1 hour chart. I had started in here and scalped it, but I actually held about 1,000 shares from a 650 average. And once I saw this basing, I had my thesis set in stone, and I knew my risk level, this very obvious double bottom. Started building in on intraday action, intraday perks in here, and then added this day with the gap up. We had a let's see if we can get the beginning, a little dip and rip entry, added right over through that high a day, and I knew that I didn't want to sell. My plan was actually to hold till 16, which funny enough, it actually ended up going right to 16. That was what I was telling people in small cap. I was like, I'm not selling this till 16. Well, I sold before, but I waited until these spikes and did a really good job with that. Added on this consolidation. I didn't get out completely. Added on this consolidation break right under VWAP, and just again sold into the pops. Got my final add here, sold into that, and then sold that last tiny bit for a loss. But that was an absolutely crazy trade that ended up to go to be a multi-day runner that I did end up hitting in this area. I got chopped up on a bit in the rest of it, but great trade. Bammy overnight. I bought here, sold a little bit here, added, sold a little bit more, and then sold into that gap, that offering gap down, which was unfortunately just brutal. I should have known the after hours action that day was quite crappy. It was actually gapping down, and I was just so tilted. I was like, I'm not selling this. And I should have made a big mistake, but you know what? It happens. I learned a lot from it. So now let's go into the calendar view. And my first and only completely green month was that of January. And that was crazy. I mean, it was just simply madness. And I don't even know how to explain it, but that's what that January looked like for me. Now, I do want to go over my biggest, I want to go over my biggest day of all time, which is in February, just shy of $50,000. I took a lot of trades, and it was just basically a lot of multiple $1,000 winners adding up. And, sometimes that's really all you need for a crazy day. Let's go over like some of the bigger trades here. S4 appears to be one of them. Wow, craziness. That was a multi-day, I guess, technically. So I had started buying here, sold here on this break. Rebought the high a day break. Wow, man, that's just crazy. OTCs used to be so hot. Sold into these pops, tried to buy this dip here, cut, and then actually timed both of these dip buys beautifully for a total of about $10,000. Let's see what else we have here. INND, another OTC. Panic dip buy, nice. Man, this is back when panics used to work. OZSC, I'm sure, was a panic dip buy. Yep. I wasn't awful at panic dip buys when we got a lot of panic dip buys, but we haven't seen them in a long time. Cells, this is funny. I actually just traded this today as we're talking. Wow, did Cells used to be an OTC? Oh my gosh, it did. It's listed now. That's crazy. Just a little breakout buy, and I really butchered it too. I was never good at holding, and that's one thing I've definitely learned to do better was, I learned to hold in this market. a little bit better. In fact, I'm struggling with that now, holding too long, as a matter of fact. But yeah, this is a crazy week. I mean, this week alone was about $100,000. Actually, it was over $100,000. I think I made about $120,000 that week, which for me is my biggest week of all time. And just pure craziness. And clearly, the market died off quite a bit in March. I think I locked in a total of $20,000 in March, taking some, much smaller green days. How much did I make in March? Well, now we're going to find out. Oop, that's May. How much did I lock in March? Yeah, okay, about $30,000. The market just slowed down a lot. I was taking, it was weird because I was taking size. It's just so choppy. And I did end up sizing down a bit once I saw that market really dropping off. And as you can see, so we'll go back. Let's compare these. Average daily gain in March, $1,200. Average winning trade, $570. Now let's compare that to February. Average daily gain of $11,000 a day with an average winner of $1,500 a trade. I was taking a lot of trades, 356 trades in February with a 60% win rate. And that was just a recipe for success with that kind of win rate, that many trades, and that average gain per trade. And then by the time April came around, really not much had changed from March. Still slow, just about another $20,000, which to me at the time, I was just so disappointed in myself. I was crazy disappointed, but I'm glad because this ended up helped set me up for the summer, when I saw opportunities that I was prepared for. Not really a whole lot to talk about here, just again having to struggle with sizing down and adapting to these $20,000 months instead of $100,000, $200,000 months. And again, consistent nonetheless, right? And then finally what was interesting is towards the end of the month, I was basically break even, shopping around for the majority of the beginning of the month. And it was BTX this month that I believe, GOED. Oh my gosh, that was this month. So I bought 1,000 shares of GOED on the gap up at $6, and within 3 minutes, I kid you not, 3 minutes, it was at $16 a share, and I was trying to sell pre-market at literally at $18 because it got up to 21, and E-Trade would not let me sell. It was telling me trading, not buying, not purchasing, trading of this security is restricted. And it was so frustrating. And so I was left with, 300 shares by the time it gapped all the way down to 8 after opening up at 16. It sucked. It was brutal. I thought maybe BTX was in June. But we'll go to June so you can see I had a really good month in June, about $100,000. VTNR, oh, this was a crazy trade. Great setup. So we have this gap, a massive gap up, and all day we just chilled near VWAP. This is roughly a 40% gap up that just chilled near VWAP all day. Shorts stuck from anywhere in the run, literally anywhere in the run. And I used size on this. I had 10,000 shares from basically $13 a share, not quite in the $12 area. And I rode that up for the nice $1 a share pop, got that scalp, and locked in, I guess, about $12,000. Largest loss of that month was Wish. I don't even know why. Oh, I was going for the breakout. $3,000 loss wasn't the end of the world, so I was very happy with that. Averaging about $1,000 per trade and losing $500 with an over 50% win rate. So basically locked in about $100,000 in June, which set me up for then a crazy July, because in July I locked in almost $200,000 with my best average winning trade ever, despite having a lower win rate. And yeah, I sized up. My average loss was about $1,000, but let's see, I must have that must have been one of my bigger red days there. Let's see what was. Oh, and this was the month of AHPI. We already went over that chart. Oops. I want to go to reports. There we go. What was my biggest loss of the month? Mdgs for sure. Yep. I had. Let's see if we can even find how many shares I had of this at one point. 50,000 shares at $2.30. I was actually dip buying this. So I must have had 50,000 at this point. This is when I sold for the loss. So started buying. So I had bought in here and sold for a loss originally with like 20 to 25,000 shares probably. I like this setup a lot. This is the same setup a very similar setup to some of the previous runners that month. And I was convicted that I was going to hold this. I had a plan. I went into the size and I understood that if I lost on this trade, it would be one of my biggest losses of all time, if not my biggest loss of all time. I was that convicted in the daily chart. And so I got in with a lot of size and I cut it here. Unfortunately, I had to tried a couple other spots with smaller size. And like I said, I actually ended that day. Let's see, can I find what day was that? July 23rd. I might not have ended green, but I bet you I ended very close. I ended down $1,000 despite a $12,000 loss, which was crazy because I was green before that, going into that with some other really nice, very consistent trades that day. Sigma, Acor, NRXP, XTB, I mean, just a bunch of wins. So like, I was happy with how I traded it and all. And yeah, now let's go into August where I decided to become a swing trader. I went on vacation for the first time in a long time. I went to Colorado and Aruba and still had a $70,000 month. Basically, this is probably because of, I know the ticker, SGOC, baby. Yup, really beautiful trade. I was kind of struggling before this in the month, and SGOC led me to, I think, a $30,000 day, a $29,000 day, whatever it was, and I murdered it. I absolutely murdered this trade, entered in. Basically, I chased a little bit here, going for that high at daybreak, and a little bit in anticipation. But then once it consolidated and gave us a little cup and handle, nailed it for this breakout here, this breakout trade, and ended up scalping pops the rest of that day. That was a great trade. Really happy with that. Biggest loss of that month was RGC. Oh, that's good. I was actually looking for this ticker. Was going for the third day surge, and at one point I was actually green $6,500 on it right here. I had nailed the beginning of this. Now notice this is a 1 minute chart, okay? Nailed this. It was this part in here where I was going for the secondary bounce that I got. Completely screwed. It became very illiquid, but this was a great trade. Very happy with how that was trading. I just shouldn't have let a $6,000 winner become a $7,000 loser. Pardon me. I guess, in August, I actually had a bigger average winning trade. And so anyways, this drawdown, I was in Colorado during this time, which ended up being my biggest drawdown of all time at that point. It was because I decided I was going to become a swing trader. Holy crap, I would have had a great month if I didn't swing. Let's switch this over and then go to reports and see. Did I not have what? I didn't have a single winning trade on the multi-day time. Hold on. Let's go back. Hold on. Let's go to multi-day. There we go. I was like, there's not a shot. Yeah, so as you can see, obviously just very, very skewed risk reward there. I was taking larger losses than I was winners, and I was winning less than I was losing. That is a recipe for disaster. And the reason I decided to become a swing trader, I told myself, was because I was traveling. And I was like, well, I'm still addicted to trading, but instead of day trading and being in front of my screens all day, I'm just going to swing everything. And that wish was a swing trade I got. I sold the offering or gap down through earnings. I liked how it was basing and that it was a Wall Street Bets ticker at one point, and this was kind of when Wall Street Bets was still pretty hot. Unfortunately, it just gapped down. I held it through earnings. I knew they had earnings at some point, and I was like, whatever, I'm better than that. And, didn't work. HJLI was a pretty cool trade. It ended up turning out to go way higher. This was just a daily chart I was very, very strongly convicted on. I've actually traded that setup similarly since that trade. But anyways, let's move into September, which was my first red month of the year and my biggest red month of all time and my biggest drawdown of all time for Oh, that's only multi-day. For negative $60,000. I just struggled. The market changed. It was very clear, and I couldn't adapt. My lowest win rate ever. Yeah, it was really tough. Oh, that's why, because I clicked loss only. Okay, last time. That makes more sense. Literally couldn't get anything rolling. Just nothing. I must have had a really decent day in here at some point. Let's see. Oh, I remember that. This just sucked. I had one good day, but I mean, every day was red. I wasn't managing my... Well, it wasn't even that I wasn't managing my risk. It's that I wasn't sized down and I was over trading in a month that just didn't call for it. I was taking way too many trades, sitting at my screens all day. Fammy started the month off awfully. Or not started the month, started that streak off. Because it wasn't awful before that. Before Fammy, I don't know what... Right here was this day was Fammy. Right? But like that was still pretty bad. That was still pretty bad. That, I guess Fammy was just the cherry on top. Let's look at our largest gain here was AEHR. What's AEHR doing these days? Wow, it's still hanging up there. I mean, they had negative earnings. Oh, it basically double topped. That's crazy that it literally became a real company. And yeah, I remember this is such a similar setup to AHPI. It took a bit longer for it to play out. I wish I had started to swing down here, because looking back I should have. But I still day traded the breakout well, so no complaints there. Largest loss, obviously, was Fammy. Yeah, this was brutal. So, and then I just bled out the rest of the month, even after sizing down a bit. Because I bet you after Fammy I did size down. I bet after this week, yeah, I did. I was trying to go for $500 losses, but it's still just a bleed, just a complete bleed out. And after Fammy, largest loss was CEI. What was I doing? Oh my God, I was shorting CEI this day. I was just not mentally in a good place. That's all I'm going to say. It just mentally was not a good place. I was trying too much, doing too much. Now let's move on over to October, where I had a nice recovery, $70,000. And that was, let's see, what was that because of? Must have had a nice trade. Oh, IINN was a dirty trade. Really, one of my proudest trades, actually. Bought this trend break beautifully and sold pieces, but still had about 2,500 shares, I think, and added, I literally bottom ticked this dip. Literally bottom ticked it. I was the bottom fill. I set in a limit order, or no, I didn't. I think I marketed in that. And then added through this flag break after the fake breakdown of support, and was able to sell there, scalped a few pops after that for a really nice trade. I was very, very happy with how I executed that trade in particular. Let's see, anything else? Largest loss was, what was my largest loss? BKKT. Which, I mean, for $3,000, very happy with how I traded that. I came into October with a much different mindset. The market changed a little bit, but nothing drastic. As you can see, I took a lot less trades compared to September. But more importantly, I was just more focused on the quality than anything else. I was more focused on taking quality setups, and that it showed. It proved to be very, very effective. Let's see, what was my biggest day of this month? Oops, how do I get to calendar? So I had a $12,000 day. Nice, just again, very consistent. Just win, 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 win. And I traded Grom, I remember this awfully. Oh no, I did really well with Grom on that trade. What did I do wrong on that? Did I just not have enough size? No, I had good size too. Okay. So this is back when Grom and DATs and all that were running. I just realized, sorry, I'm in a trade right now as I'm filming this. I want to make sure, okay, it's, okay. Not the worst thing. Anything else worth mentioning? I'm gonna cancel that. And we're in market sell. There we go, just cut that for break even. Actually, I won $2 on it, nice. Not $2 a share, $2. Anyway, sorry. Back to the video here. Just traded really well that day. That was all. And I actually was in Miami this day. Most of it came through BKKT. Just really nice buy and hold all day for that breakout. Let's go over to November. November was another decent month, mainly because of Thanksgiving week for me, where it was the majority of my month was made. I had roughly 22,000 to 70,000, roughly a $50,000 week in the Thanksgiving time, which was great. I was stoked. Did a really good job trading. I took advantage of the momentum. We'll go over that week. We'll go over biggest gain was neg on this. Oh, nice. That was a nice trade. That was a really good trade for this attempted breakout through 20, and we didn't actually break out, sadly enough, because that could have been a much bigger trade. Anything else? What was my largest loss? Was SGOC. Oh my gosh, I just had so much size. Oh my God. I had 30,000 shares. And then I broke it. And this was only like 2,500 shares here, and my stop just didn't hit at all. My stop just simply did not hit. Largest loss, I just had too much size. Way too much size. I was very, very, very convicted in that daily chart. Extremely, actually. Which is why I had so much size. Let's go over that month now. That last week here, this Thanksgiving week, where so I started the day or the start of the week red, but then every day it was just like 13,000, 12,000, 13,000, just trading really well. And one of the trades I was very proud of this week, was it this day or was it Friday? SOPA I nailed for the first Green Day attempt. Really, really, really nice trade there. And I must have had some decent size on that. Yep. I thought it was ARC that I did really well with on one of these. Maybe it's the next day. Is it Atvo? Was that the one I was thinking of? No, that was just, I just scalped that really well. I can't find it. Well, that's all right. Anyways, really just a really strong week, very consistent. And then on Monday, I just blew it, overtraded. The momentum, I was expecting the same momentum that there was during Thanksgiving week, and there just simply wasn't. And then we'll head on over to December, where I finished the month red, I think about $9,000 or $10,000, which was fine. 12,000, okay. Yeah, not the end of the world. I really struggled, but I mean, look at that win rate, really low win rate. And I overtraded in the beginning, but by the end of the month, I had just really decided, okay, it is what it is. I'm going to trade a lot less and just be more focused on hanging out with my family. And that's exactly what I did. So biggest win was BFRI. Nice. I remember this was right at the end of the month. When I was trading a little bit better, I thought, even though I was still taking losses, I just felt like I was trading better. This was a really nice trade there for about $8,000. And then largest loss was AXXA. Oh my gosh. I was literally at lunch, and I was going for the breakout, and unfortunately I didn't get the breakout. It was an OTC. But yeah, so let's just go back over to that was a month by month analysis there, kind of my trading and how I did and whatnot. So I don't know, lessons I learned, I guess, from this year. The market will not always be as hot as it once was. And we had a really crazy 2020 and an even crazier 2021. And the fact of the matter is, it's probably not going to be like that for a long time again. It might never be that crazy again, but part of trading, guys, is adjusting and adapting. And I'm going to really make sure to adapt the best I can by taking less trades, by being at my computer less, working on things outside of trading, working on different strategies, working on whatever I can to not overtrade and to be a better trader. I have lower expectations for 2022. I don't normally set money goals, But I certainly don't expect 2022 to be better than 2021 because we were blessed with one of the hottest markets of all time. And I guess I'll go over, what I could do differently. If I could do 2022 over, what I would do differently. I would hold longer. I would understand. I had never been through a market of really that hot of a market before, or really a hot market for that matter. I had been through hot markets, the Bitcoin run, the weed run. You get the gist of it. But I had never actually been a profitable trader through one of those runs. And so that led to me being, debatably too scalpy when I shouldn't have been. And now I know what it's like to be in a hot market. And I know what it feels like. I know what that follow through is like, and I do a better job at holding. But if I could do that hot market over again, I would not have been as scalpy, especially on the OTCs. I would have taken bigger risk. I wouldn't have, I know it sounds messed up to say, $1,000 is enough risk. And it is. It certainly is enough risk. But these days, I would be probably risking on an A+ setup, $5,000 to $10,000 consistently on the best trades, and let them ride out a bit longer. So that's how I would do it over if I could. And like I said, going into 2022, I want to go for smaller days. I want to go for more consistency, but smaller, less trading, only focusing on the best, and live my life outside of trading, whether that means going into other ventures, finding other things that I want to do, or working on other projects, or learning other setups. I just want to make sure that I'm not addicted to the market. And I did a really good job towards the end throughout December, caring a lot less about being in front of my screens all day. And so I'm going to keep doing that moving forward. For those of you that are, new to watching me or, haven't heard much about me, this is my YouTube channel. I'm going to try to put more videos out on a more consistent basis. But guys, the fact of the matter is that between trading, between trying to live my life a little bit, between being in small cap rockets, between helping out in steady trade team, I'm busy. So if you want more consistent access to me, you can follow me on Twitter, although I've been even a lot less active there. That's another goal of mine in 2022, is to be a lot less active on social media, just because it's really unhealthy when I'm on it too much, and I don't want to go into that toxic mindset anymore. It's a you versus you battle, and too often I found myself comparing myself to other traders. So I'm going to be staying off of Twitter quite a bit. But anyways, if you guys do want more frequent access to me, I'm in small cap rockets about every day. Even though I've been less active trading, less active sitting in front of my computer, I'll go through and do question and answer anytime I'm there. I'm always there in the morning, always there in the afternoon. It's just kind of the midday now. I'm not as frequently there. I'm doing, we do twice a week or twice a month webinars, and we might be upping that. We're trying to do live trading. So if you guys kind of want to learn the style of trading that helped bring me to an $830,000 a year, try it out. We got a 2-week trial. It's not this type of trading. This style of trading isn't going to be for everybody the way that I trade, especially if you're more, hard data based, where you're looking at, different indicators. Although that's Papa John does really well with that. So anyways, that's going to be all I've got here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys had a great 2021, and I hope that 2022 can treat us better, but don't expect anything, in my opinion, don't expect anything too wild, but be prepared for it if it's there. I'll catch you guys later.